Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome to the stream. For those of you who do not know me, I am Ben. I am a game manager at Tilting Point, and with me is my good friend Joe, my good work colleague Joe, executive producer. Joe, say hi.
Howdy.
Awesome. Uh,
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, Ben.
of course, every time. Okay, so let's get right into it. But just a reminder, subscribe to the channel, like the video. It does help us out if you'd like to see more of these. Um, we have recently upgraded our streaming tech because we run into issues past a few times we were streaming. So definitely let us know if things are coming through clear and good on your side. Um, yeah, sound and video at the same time. Huzzah! I know, right? Crazy, crazy world we live in now. Great. So I guess jumping right into it. Star Trek Legends, our other Star Trek game, we recently released on Windows. We did that on Tuesday, I believe. Um, and yeah, so we originally brought it to Steam, ported it to Steam, ported it to Windows. We're really excited to get it over to another platform and have another area for players to play the game and purchase the game. Um, yeah, anything you want to add to that, Joe?
No, just we're hoping to see y'all in the Discord if you're coming from the Windows platform and continue making Star Trek Legends a fun experience for everybody.
I agree. And there's more to come for Legends. We're not going to talk about that today because we have something else really cool to talk about. Voyage Events, but teasing that right before we get into it, just want to shout out we did recently update our web shop, our Star Trek Timelines web shop. We made a lot of adjustments here as to making it a lot more cleaner to read, a lot more organized. Um, we recently had we'll be able to do more giveaways, more things like that. We don't have one live right now, but we had I believe two last week and then one the week before. So we'll be doing a little more of the web shop here. Let us know your feedback on that. But the redesign, it kind of unblocks us to do a lot of cool things that we want to do with the web shop. One thing that I know we've been talking about for a while is the loyalty points. Uh, that we've been saying is going to be coming soon, coming soon. Now having this redesign, it unblocks us for doing that. So hopefully we'll be releasing that very soon, and keep your eye out for that. So with that, now we can get into the meat and potatoes while everyone is here. Our voyage events. Joe, you want to take it off here?
One, yeah, just one technical thing before we proceed. It sounds like my mic is picking up a little low, so I don't know if you want to boost it slightly, or I can also just project more. I
I
might be
can,
able to
I
solve the
can, I
problem
can,
by
I can
myself.
boost slightly. There we go.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. I apologize. This close out of ears. Um, yeah. So while Ben's gonna be getting the Voyage event gameplay set up, I'm just gonna do a brief sort of rundown on sort of the what's and the whys. So Voyage events. People love voyages, the existing feature in our game from both a metric standpoint and sentiment standpoint. Um, it is among the most popular features. It also drives a core evaluation of crew, whether they're worth getting or not. A lot of people are sort of being like, what does this do to my voyages? How does this affect voyages when they're looking to evaluate whether to get a new crew? Um, it reinforces the player narrative of captaining a ship and making the staffing decisions. And the rewards. The rewards are so good, we actually had to nerf them at some point in order to improve other aspects of the game's economy and balance. And so when we looked at Voyage as an event type, we looked to sort of solve for some things internally as well as things that have been said by our players. So one such thing is I want to run multiple voyages by putting them in sort of an event structure that allows us for that need to be running multiple voyages to be sort of spent periodically rather than like constantly trying to keep two voyages running. Um, Another thing we looked at were having a new type of crew in the sense of this crew is valuable here. So looking to provide some gameplay that gave a new valuation to crew. And then another sentiment that came about when we were discussing, and this was actually on our Discord, just this sentiment of I want more strategic, active gameplay. And there's actually a really great quote that we pulled from Avi Trek, one of our players and community members, who said, "But what I really like is solving a puzzle, then putting the game down and coming back later to solve a new puzzle, and having my rank based on how well I solved that puzzle, not how many times I mindlessly click a button." So thanks for that pull quote, Avi Trek. And that's definitely been sort of a goal of some of our development as far as trying to sort of uh, provide interesting decisions while sort of providing that sort of appointment gameplay. Um, so yes, so yeah, the Voyage event feature um, will unlock an additional voyage specific to the event during its event or event phase. So this will allow for periods of time for that further voyage investment that we sort of just discussed. And then for the crew valuation, we're looking to make an event type that drives value for a different type of crew, which you'll see a little bit. And then strategic gameplay, the more interactive and gameplay focused, looking to replace the existing dilemma mechanic with something that's a bit more strategic. Um, we're going to take a quick look at the current state of this mechanic. That's what we're looking at today, is this strategic component. And just for the caveats, this is still in a very early state of development. The UI is incomplete, the balance is incomplete, and some facets of this particular mechanic are incomplete. However, we believe it's representative of the type of gameplay we're aiming for in this feature. Excited to show you. And so let's get into it.
Awesome. So for this run, uh, for an example case, I went ahead and I selected basically the top crew I had for each of the seats here. So now that I filled all of those out, I'll go ahead and engage.
Yeah, and just we'll probably pop in and out of this a few times while we're showing you a few things in the feature, but um, uh, we replaced the existing dilemma mechanic in the core voyage for this test. That is not how it's designed to work. So that's just so we can play test it.
I named our
All
ship live
right.
stream because why not?
Nice.
Okay, so
Um,
oh, go ahead, Joe.
are you at the encounter?
No, I am at the voyage. Just entered the voyage. I have a little ship that's slowly going across the top bar, and I'm getting the normal kind of uh, narrative bits as we go through every 10 seconds or so.
Yep. Yeah, so that is gonna remain similar. The base rewards from the voyage from this will be altered slightly. And POSS live stream, yes, antithesis. Um, yes. So yeah. Uh, yeah. So for event voyages, we are replacing the dilemma mechanic with a new system that we are currently calling encounters, and this is obviously subject to change. So encounters are a string of gauntlet contests where you can only use crew you have selected for your voyage. Additionally, using a crew member will lock them for the remainder of the encounter, which can be unlocked via dilithium. So your efficient playthrough will require sort of projecting and selecting the correct crew to use where. Um,
About to start the first encounter,
yeah.
and all the timing of encounters right now is totally subject to change. They're pretty quick the way they are now. Great. So I just hit my encounter here. As you can see, I have a bunch of crew Similar to how we select for Gauntlet, a bunch of crew I can select on the left here. And then instead of just one contest for Gauntlet, I have a few. I have a row here, um, and you can see all the different featured skills for each of these contests and the featured traits as well. So I'm going to go ahead, Joe, and I'm just going to try to win this contest. Although the skill set is
Yep.
kind of difficult for me, actually. I don't know. I'm going to have to use Mr. 7 here and hopefully get a crit or two. I might end up losing this one. Nope, got it.
Yeah. Nice.
Great. So now that I won this one, you can see I get a nice little chunk of victory points there. But also, I'm getting a bonus for some extra for some skills that will give me kind of buff skills for the remainder of this encounter. So 7 had 3 skills. I really only used one of them for that contest. So the other 2 that were not used during that contest, a percentage of the min and max proficiency end up getting cycled and buff your roster for the remainder of that encounter. But that only occurs when you win. So we'll go
Yes, that's
ahead.
going to be a core strategy for completing the more difficult encounters that you're going to see deeper into your voyages.
Yep. So I'll just run through. Oh, I just barely won that one. I'll run through the rest of this one, and then we'll do a quick reset, and then we'll try to go through. So let's see. I'm on a medical node now. I think I can win this one too. And so, kind of playing through it for the first time, I'm just choosing kind of like the best crew that I have, and I do, not really thinking too much about it, but the kind of I guess, inner strategy of this is with these encounters, you want to be using crew that are going to help you and boost your skills for the later feature skills during that encounter. So okay, just finished that. Let me just go ahead and recall real quick, and we'll run this again. What kind of strategy should I go for this time, Joe, with selecting my crew?
So I think it's going to be important for to have the skill coverage, the skill combination coverage. So you don't run into the situation that you ran into the first one where you had to have Gary 7 sort of cover just a single skill and hope to win.
Right. So
But ultimately, like that might not be the most effective tactics to take on, and we're definitely excited for players to sort of see what the strategy becomes. Are you bringing sort of pairs? Are you bringing a sort of proficiency focused character and then a core focused voyage character to sort of go deeper into the voyage, or is this going to generate a more valuable sort of baseline of the like characters that are kind of decent at both but wouldn't be top tier in either sort of feature of the core voyage or the core gauntlet feature. um so we're definitely excited to see what direction the strategies the players that you guys come up with um, when we break this out live.
yeah,
I'm
so
trying to collect. Yeah, one more thing just before
mhm.
you go for it, Ben. I'm trying to collect questions, and we're gonna try to save them for the end. So keep firing them out. I'm trying to collect them, but we're probably not gonna get to them till later.
Great. So let me just select a few more. Yeah, let's bring that guy in. Gotta have a queue in there somewhere, right? Okay. So for this strategy, I tried not to bring in crew that had the same 3 skills. So I tried to broaden the skill coverage here. Um, Okay, so we have about a minute there. So yeah, I guess the different strategies, right? Joe kind of touched on that. We're really excited to kind of get this in players' hands eventually. Um, to kind of learn, like I guess what strategies you guys come up with. Like Joe said, there might be, might be a world where you'd want to bring in maybe six crew that you know are really good, just voyagers in general, and maybe six crew that give you a lot of that gauntlet coverage, the proficiency coverage, right? So there's a lot of strategy there. But then you also need to balance out the using crew that have featured the event featured traits and the gauntlet traits there too. So there's kind of a lot of inner strategy once you kind of break it down and move into it, and we'll get into that here in about 20 seconds or so when we hit our first encounter here. But the encounters are going to scale throughout the voyage as well. So, this first encounter is only 4 skills. I think by the end of this, we might hit an encounter that is it six or seven skills, I think. 6 or 7
E-
contests.
Yes, and it's one of those things, and I want to reemphasize this is not going to be the state of like the first few encounters as you enter a voyage and a voyage event, but it will scale both with the time in your voyage. So the deeper you are into it, you will see more difficult encounters, and your ability to navigate those encounters will effectively be how you rank and achieve the most amount of victory points as efficiently as possible.
Great. So in this case here, looking at my crew, we have a science node here that I have to hit. Um, I'm thinking I want to use data here because the other skills that uh, data has is engineering and diplomacy. I know engineering is a skill that's going to be featured on towards the end of this encounter. So getting that extra buff, if we win this contest, getting that extra buff is going to help us out. So sometimes there's going to be a balance of, do I really try to win? Really try to win now? That maybe I'll have a better chance of completing a contest later on. But maybe it's not my first choice of crew that I would use because I might want to save that crew for a different contest. Okay, so we won that one. Let's see what other crew we have here, and we also want to be thinking about which with those what those later nodes are. Once you use a crew, you can't use them again for the encounter. You can spend a little bit of dilithium to revive them, but just another thing to think about and kind of plan ahead. So for this one, I think we're in a pretty good spot to use Jellicoe here. He has command. We should win this contest. But one of his skills that's not going to be used is security, which will be the next node we have to face. So then we should get a buff here. And this buff it's not a small amount either, which is nice. The max goes up by 100 158, which is pretty cool. So that should give us a pretty good boost here. And we know what this last node is going to be engineering and command. So maybe let's see if we can try to find a someone that we can win this contest with that has engineering and command. Uh, Talus seems to be the one, and we get a crit bonus here too. So another aspect to this, and Joe, I don't know if you want to touch on this while I'm kind of running through the next one, um, is the VP multiplier and how that's going to work. It's not hooked up yet in this
Yes.
example here, but it will be.
Yeah, so the multiplier for your VP gain throughout the voyage through both actually I'm not sure if it's from the voyage itself or the VP you're gaining from the contests will be multiplied sort of in a streak sense. So you want to maintain that and build on it, and that will increase. So the two things that I know reset this multiplier bonus are your voyage reaching in the end of its antimatter as well as losing a contest. So it's really important to figure out how to sort of make the longest streak possible to maintain your VP gains. But it's also going to be important that you're leveraging crew that are going to get you deeper into the voyage, because resetting your voyage, whether it's through a voyage token or a dilithium, is going to sort of reset those multipliers.
Right.
Yeah.
And losing a contest too, I see a question. What happens if you lose a contest? You lose a contest, your multiplier gets reset. I think we'll have an option there too to pay a little dilithium to keep that reset, kind of, or keep that multiplier, kind of similar to how Gauntlet is set up. So you really do want to try to win every contest you can and keep that cycling as much as possible and as long as possible.
Did you manage the mention the antimatter penalty as well?
I did not mention that actually.
Okay, yeah. So losing a contest will result in the loss of antimatter, sort of decreasing the length of your voyage. So you will have to manage sort of both mechanics in order to achieve the highest sort of thresholds of the VP gains.
When is that second encounter planned for Joe? Is it 5 minutes? Oh, there it is. It
I
just
think it was
popped for me.
300 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like 300 seconds past the first one.
Okay, great. So you
Yeah.
can see for the second encounter here, uh, instead of four, we have five contests, and a couple more double skill ones as well. So a little more to think about. So let me go. Let me try to, and it's also harder. This is more difficult now. I think the data might be a good option. He doesn't have a ton of diplomacy though, so we might have a better option. Seven will be good, but I think we kind of want to save him for that second contest there. Really don't think we have an option, to be honest. Actually, we could try with Q. It'll help us out more so for medical. But we do have that 25%
Yeah,
crit chance here.
I I think you want to use somebody that has security. If that buff is applied like that, you're going to get a lot of mileage out of improving your
Yeah,
crew's
that's a good point.
security for this one.
Well, it's too late for that first one, but
So if you're looking at, oh, yeah.
uh, but let's see. I kind of want to save seven though. It's gonna be kind of tough. I think we do have to use him here. Let's try Talus. Let's try Talus with a 25% crit chance here. Might get lucky. Hit two crits, but it was not enough. So we lost that contest. Um, and so our streak basically gets reset. We could restore it for dilithium, but we're not going to. Um, Talus is now on ice for the rest of that encounter. Okay, so our next one is going to be diplomacy, and if we could win a contest with diplomacy, also maybe get a bonus for security, will go a long way. Not really seeing too many options, unfortunately. Um, yeah, we might just have to go with Dexa here. We're going to lose this one too. I'm failing, Joe. I'm failing miserably.
RNG is not on your side today.
I did not. I
That's
did
okay.
not plan ahead properly, for sure. Um,
Yeah, I think the mistake might have been in your first node. I think if you had taken uh one of your lower crew, I
yeah,
forget who I was looking at before, that would have been a good candidate. That would have given you that security buff that might have gotten you over in the second one, but it is kind of like cascading failures here. Like because you failed the previous nodes, you're not passing on further bonuses, so could
right.
be pretty brutal. And yeah, the difficulty for this is definitely scaled at the moment. This might be one that we're seeing several hours into the event, you know, after you've cleared through more of the basic ones. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge.
All right, so and just a reminder too, when you lose a contest, you're not getting uh, that kind of bonus, that bigger drop of victory points as well. Okay, I think we'll wait for the third encounter here. Um, yeah, so I mean, just to go back a little bit, we recently had kind of a play test of this, making sure that the mechanics we felt were engaging enough, fun enough. Um, I ended up playing it way after the meeting finished. I was having a blast with it, and I think you all have a lot of fun with it, especially when you get your hands on it and start thinking about all the different strategies that you can take here. Um, yeah, while we're waiting for the next encounter,
Yeah,
anything
I've
that you want to
collected a
add?
bunch of questions. I've collected a bunch of questions, so I think while
Sure.
we're in between the encounters, why don't we just go through them?
Yeah.
So apologies for butchering this, but Salieri M asks, will we be able to use crew in both events and voyages at the same time? I believe they're asking if they're using both, like a crew in one place and the other, and I believe the answer is no. It's sort of like slotting in one or the other. However, my guess is that depending on the size of your roster, you might be using a different set of crew per the feature, anyways.
Yeah. We wanted to
Um,
make sure that you'd be able to still run your main voyage, while also running the event voyage. Unlike for faction events, you're using up a shuttle bay when you're participating in the event. So we wanted to kind of avoid that in this case.
cool. Danjevin. Um, are the skills scaled to reflect availability of crew that are competitive? I.e., engineering is a more scarce skill to appear. Um, I believe the initial balance is hitting the. I believe there's 15 combinations of different skills, so there's going to be a pretty even distribution of the skills that are needed. Also, you are bringing in or unless you're talking about the skill scales. Oh, okay. So that might be interesting. So the engineering could be potentially lower, I guess. At this point, it's all the same. But I could see that potentially being considered for the balance if there's a range of skills that have a lower threshold on average. However, at current, they're balanced. However, there will be, this is your next question, there will be bonus traits associated for the event crew, as this will be part of an event. And the ship traits and the traits for the voyage itself will be static throughout the voyage event. So there'll be no sort of uh, trying to find the optimal traits. As some people cycle through, they send a voyage with bump traits, they recall it and cycle until the traits align with what their needs. So it'll be locked for the voyage event per the design. Yeah, so that's those two
I
questions
definitely
from
lucked
Tangent.
out with this third encounter here, because the skills here, or sorry, the traits, are Starfleet, human, and undercover operative. So a lot of the guys that I brought in, a lot of people I brought in, Starfleet and human. So I'm getting like 50% crit, and that's just good luck there.
Yeah, so we definitely got lucky on the traits, but as we plan ahead, we definitely want to look at a character and say like, okay, this command security person is gonna take us over the final thing. So I don't know if you want to save Jellico or if you want to save Who else is command
Yeah,
security? But
I was planning
Kira.
to save seven here. Right now I have Mr. Seven kind of buffed up, um, pretty good for security and command, um, which I think is pretty good. So I'm saving him for the last one. Um, but I have one more node before that. Let's see. I can use Jellico. I can use Jellico here with a 50% crit. That should get me over the bar. Wow, 4 out of 6 crits. Love to see it. Okay, now we're on the last node here, and we got a board queen. We have a boss here, Joe.
Yep. So there will be boss encounters where the final contest of the encounter will be more difficult. It will be this is where we're introducing a little bit of crit chance on the enemies. If you've noticed to this point, we've set most of the crit to 0. I'm not sure if that will scale in difficulty later. However, the boss is supposed to be representing like this is a very difficult encounter. So at the end, you'll have to sort of scale up your buffs as you're sort of proceeding through the system, and hopefully be able to hit their higher numbers or get lucky with a couple crits.
Yeah, in this case, I think we set ourselves up for a lot of success here. Um, Put us in a really good spot. We almost beat board queen by 3,000, so pretty good. Awesome. So do you want to take some more questions then? Ooh, we have a fourth
Yep.
encounter, Joe. I didn't realize there was a fourth one designed. But sorry, go ahead. I'll just kind of continue to play through it.
Yeah, sure. So Sunkatse seven Siete asks, so each crew can only be used once unless revived with dilithium. That is correct within the encounter. So as you get deeper, that dilithium cost will scale, and it'll put the importance on you creating the right squad of people to bring, as well as the effective usage within the sort of puzzle that is the encounter itself. Um, Naomi Wildman isn't the final boss. All right. Message received. Salieri M. Will we be able to use crew in both events and voyages at the same time? Oh, I already answered that one. Does the voyage stop until the contest gets resolved? So the current functionality is it's based on your time, and so the voyage isn't stopping, but as you see in this current gameplay, it's sort of stacked. We definitely need to test a few things with that, as far as just like, oh, okay, like if I leave this voyage overnight, am I going to have like a sequence of 4 encounters to sort of do when I wake up in the morning? um but and making sure that sort of works, and voyages are running smoothly there. So um Danjavan asks again, will upcoming giveaway and mega crew be tuned to help newer players be able to compete in voyage events, i.e., good proficiencies and difficult skill pairs? EV suit Gorn may be good but hard to get. Yeah, I think EV suit Gorn is definitely going to be more gauntlet focused, so he might have lower, or he or she might have lower core values for being targeted for gauntlet. However, the mega crew will definitely be considered in that, and I think there's a contingent of crew existing in the game that's probably lower value because players look at it and say like, oh well, they're not great at voyages and they're not great at gauntlets, so they're really not helpful for me in either feature. Where they might fit in the voyage event feature being good enough for both to really bring you successfully through um, the mid and later parts of the feature. Um, Another question from Sukatse Siete: how the event scores will go by length of voyage and number of fight wins. It's the answer to that is yes, all of the above. The balance is still being finalized, but the victory points will scale based on how far your voyage is going. You will be unlocking VP through just the voyage sort of rewards itself. The VP will also be delivered in chunks to you in the contest system, which will then be multiplied based on how successful you are at streaking that encounter system. Um, all right. Um, Another question from Sally RM. What happens if you fail these contests? Is the voyage hindered in any way? I think we answered this. Yes, you will lose antimatter. Um,
And your contest
do the
streak
second.
will reset as well.
Oh, in the streak. Yeah. Um, cool. Do the second voyage seat traits mirror the traditional ones? Likewise, are the gauntlet feature trait triplets pulled from the existing gauntlet pool? The traits, yeah, the traits will be designed for the event. So there'll be the 3 event featured crew bonus traits. Those will provide bonuses for both the antimatter seats as well as the the construction of the encounters. Um, they will be a pool of them. I don't know what the sets are, how those are going to present exactly, but they will be based on the crew and bonus that we select for each event. And then are the crit odds going to be like in Gauntlet? I really hope the answer is not, and I'm sure most players, not to say all, will think the same. The crit odds are going to be very player favorite, as you can see. Um, Most of the basic contests are 0 crit from the uh, generic enemies, and then the boss has one of 10. Obviously, it's subject to change, but we're definitely trying to sort of skew it in favor of the players and mitigate some of the RNG element there, um, just so that it's less of a coin flip and more of like you are mitigating an odds, but there's still chances of you getting lucky or the enemy getting lucky. Um, can we opt out of these special voyages during an event? Fundamentally, the event, this will be the active gameplay for the event. So the special voyages, you don't have to do the regular voyages if you don't want to sort of spread yourself across both those features. But in order to earn the threshold rewards and participate in the competition, you will have to participate in this type of event. Um, oh, did we lose the stream? Some people are asking.
I just refreshed the page, the game, so it should be okay.
Oh,
I was doing the flying between planets, and I wanted to test out the new tech, so
okay.
should be good. Should be good now.
um, cool. That was all that I captured before. I see there's a couple more in the chat that I can react to. So Jed's Rilana Roishven, I apologize for probably butchering your name. Follow-up crew multi-usage and continuous originally advertised that crew could be used in multiple areas, i.e. not locked into voyage and therefore locked out of continue optional crew. Um, I think that was miscommunication or misunderstanding as far as using the crew elsewhere. Improving their usage in the various features across the game. Um, um, have we considered making generic enemy encounter enemy artworks available as actual characters? I'd love to unlock them somehow. They look really cool. That's really great feedback, and I'll definitely pass that on to the art team. That you're looking at that and you're like, wow, that's really cool. At this time, we don't have plans of introducing them to the game as collectible crew, but obviously that could change, especially if enough people ask for it. So thank you, Josh Riddle. Salieri M says, can we expect to clear event threshold rewards 350k VP without spending dilithium on these voyages? I think we're targeting a similar balance of faction events. So possibly with your if you have the right roster of crew and you're investing the boosts that you need to, you might be able to see those VP gains. But the balance isn't final, so I don't want to say with confidence in either way. Um, To what extent are players going to feel like they're gaining something immediately from these voyages, like the skirmish, rather than just gauntlet or galaxy grinding? Yeah, I think the Yoda Breaker. I think the VP drops that you're going to be getting from the encounters will be progressing you up the threshold rewards in a meaningful way. So hopefully you feel like you're getting that progress, and there will be some rewards distributed through um, the voyage system as well. Um, Will the dilemma rewards be the same chances as voyage exclusive goals? No, antithesis. So the dilemma rewards will be altered for this one. We're still investigating the balance on that exactly though. I
Awesome.
have caught up with questions, Ben. I don't know if you have any other things that you wanted to sort of add or say.
Other things that that we're basically booked internally that we can talk about. Uh, we will be doing a Voyage event. The first one will be a live beta. This is to test out the new mechanics and make sure things are running smoothly from the player's point of view and from our side as well, um, code wise. So we don't have an exact date for that, but I believe it'll probably end up being in August. Is that accurate, Joe? Most likely.
Yes, I would expect the client for this to come out at the end of July, and then we can run our midweek beta event, and then I would expect the first Voyage event to be at the end of August, the first full competitive, that kind of things.
Great. Alrighty. I think that's everything I had. Um, Anything else you want to shout out, Joe, or should we say goodbye for the stream?
Yeah, no, just thank you all for tuning in.